Welkom, welkom, welkom. We zijn terug bij Couchmap. De playoffs zijn achter de rug.
Yes, sir.
Ik heb mijn boy Jesse bij. Ik heb nog een speciale guest bij, maar ik zal ze nog wel uitleggen. Buiten de draft, daar komen we nog wel op terug. Wat we nu eventjes een speciale aflevering geven, waar we een special guest mee hebben gebracht. Iemand die mij basketbal heeft geleerd, waardoor ik ben beginnen basketten. Maar gewoon omdat inderdaad het een Amerikaanse gast is, gaan we deze aflevering ook in het Engels doen.
Yes.
Dus hopelijk dat de meesten van jullie het verstaan. Maar bij deze, I'm going to start my little intro to introduce the main man, Mr. Butch Wade. Somebody who's played a long career.
Yes.
Somebody started out in Boston, made it to Michigan. In Michigan, had a great career. Won an NIT championship. Two-time champion of the Big Ten. Drafted by the Knicks in '86. 14-year career in Belgium. One-time Belgian Cup winner. Averaging 17.4 points and 11 rebounds over 14 years. Which is a pretty good achievement. If I was seeking average double over 14 years in Belgium, then that's pretty good. But by that one, Mr. Butch Wade, my dad, over here to talk to you guys about a little bit more about his career and his life. By that, thanks. I appreciate you for coming out.
No problem.
Appreciate you being here. But by that, let's just get it started. A lot of people know you from playing basketball in Belgium, obviously. Mm-hmm. Belgium was probably the last step of your career. But before that, can you give us like a little bit of a showdown about Boston, because that's where you're originally from. But how was that for you playing in Boston initially? Like, just how did you get to the root of basketball, and what made you love basketball that much?
Basketball was, let me just say, it was part of me. You know what I mean? I had a love for the game at a very young age. I went to school, and then after school, went to the gym and played basketball. So I found like my peace and happiness on the basketball court. And Boston's a kind of city. It's the inner city. Tough growing up.
Yeah.
So when you are in that type of environment, it just translates or carries over to the basketball court. And because that's how I played. I had a lot of success just fighting for what I wanted and going to get it, And I had a true love for the game. So, and it didn't hurt that when I grew 4, 5, 6 inches in 1 year. I went from 6'1" to 6'7" or so in a year.
Get
so
you.
Oh,
being
for real?
big, yeah.
Can you imagine?
No, okay, that's
helped,
crazy.
that helped.
Can I ask you a question? Like,
Sure.
do you have like a first memory of like seeing a basketball game that you saw that made you like, whoa? Or somebody at the park that made a move that you had like?
I grew up in Boston, so everybody was like Celtics fans. Celtics. Everybody knows the Celtics till this day. I don't know. I was a Dr. J guy. I would watch him just when he came from the ABA to the NBA, dunking on people, and just the way he played, the flashiness, the toughness. I became a Philadelphia fan.
Sorry, but like, because Dr. J, like my father also told me about Dr. J because he was also a fan, and Jordan was a fan of Dr. J. Was he really, because he was like, if I heard the documents, he was like the first flashy guy, his style. So was it really like that?
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. He was a guy that came, you had 2 leagues back then. You had the ABA and the NBA. And the ABA was much more flashy. It had more superstars. But back then, they didn't have contracts, or the NBA didn't go after players like that. And then when they merged, the ABA came over to the NBA, and you had guys like Dr. J, George Gerving, guys that added a little bit more flair to the game. And that's like, like today, when little kids watch a game, they watch a guy that's
So flashy, right?
Yeah, doing something special,
Okay.
That makes it interesting. And like you said, you turned from, what year was that? Like when you were 15, 16, when you went from 6'1" to 6'7"?
I was going from like 8th grade to 9th grade, and then from 9th to 10th grade, went from 6'1", 6'4", 6'6".
Did that change the way you had to play basketball?
I was bigger than some of the other guys, so yeah, it kind of worked in my favor.
You're always a big man, though?
No, when you played in the park, everybody wanted to be a guard. You know what I mean? Everybody's doing their thing, handling it, and trying to be Dr. Dre. Michael Jordan or whoever. I don't know who they would want to be nowadays, but yeah, you always wanted to be somebody, right? But when I got bigger and I played my back to the basket, it just enhanced my game.
Right. And is that the moment you started getting offers for college as well?
No, I was good because I was all city, my sophomore year, it was like all state. My junior year. And then I went to a national basketball, it's called 5-star basketball camp,
Yeah, it's pretty popular.
where all the stars went. You had to be invited.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Like Michael Jordan, everybody's, Patrick Ewing, all those guys. You had to be invited to go to this camp. So I got invited, and I went, and I did really well. So it was right at the end of my junior year in high school.
Yes.
And then by the time I got back from the camp, I did so well. Like letters were coming from everywhere. Kind of had my pick of where I could have gone to.
Yes.
Okay. And why Michigan? Like,
it's interesting. When you get like boxes of letters, you kind of the schools that you go, I don't want to go to Idaho. I don't want to go to.
Right.
I wanted to go to Georgetown back then because they were just up and coming. The Big East was a league that was starting to pick up back then. But my dad kind of wanted me to go away from Boston. Boston College was there, Connecticut was there. All those schools, those Big East, Providence were no-brainers. But my dad was like, pick some schools outside of Boston.
Because he wanted you to experience.
He wanted me to kind of go away from home and not be someplace where you could just come home every weekend.
Yes. Oh yeah, I think that's key because like it helps you like mature faster, right? When you're out there.
It also helps you to broaden your horizons.
Yes, of course.
Maybe not be as prone to coming back home and start hanging with the wrong people again.
Yes,
That's the biggest downfall right there.
And my dad knew him. He was smart. He was like, yeah, you probably need to just look at some schools. So I looked at Michigan.
Right.
I looked at Villanova.
Okay, that's a solid pick too.
I looked at DePaul, which was really good back then.
Yep.
Purdue, a couple of schools. I didn't really want to go too far away from. I didn't want to go out to UCLA or.
Makes sense.
So anywhere in the Midwest was really good, and I took a visit. So back then, you could take a visit to 6 schools.
Yep. Okay.
So you narrowed it down to 6, and then it came down to Michigan and DePaul.
I think it's like a little detail that you said was like, because now we live in the era of phones and mails, but you really received letters. And was it like a family thing that we read the letters from school to school and we decide as a family, or if it was like really you?
And my high school coach is a really good guy, so he was really involved, and he kind of knew like which schools were good and which schools were better, and it's kind of, you want to go to a school that's going to fit your style of play.
Yeah, of course.
Michigan was a school that wasn't doing really well at the time. Michigan's a football school. It was always been a football school, and basketball was still up and coming. But I went out there. One of the things that we did, we put together a list of like academics, sports programs, coaches, like alumni, like job opportunities that'll be available. So when we put everything together, then Michigan was by far the school that's way at the top. It was just a matter of whether I wanted to go there or to DePaul. Villanova, I liked but didn't like, and DePaul was on my list, but it was right in the city of Chicago, and I was thinking, I'm not really going to go.
Might as well stay in Boston then.
Back to the city. So,
Okay. And if you look back at it now, obviously it's a couple of years ago, but how was your experience at Michigan?
Oh, it was great. Well, it was tough the first year because I was really homesick. I'm thinking like, I'm far away from home, from my family, my friends.
Go home, man.
First year I had to live in the dorm. Yeah, it was an adjustment. Really. But funny story was when I was there, my first semester I was playing and wasn't getting much playing time, and it didn't help. I was like, at Christmas I'm out of here. I'm going back home. Packed my bags. I went back to Boston and said, Dad, I'm going to transfer to Providence or a Boston college or somewhere close to home. He's like, no. We had a long talk. He said, no, we're not going to do that. You gave your commitment to Michigan. You're going to at least go back and try your best for the rest of this year and see what happens. So I went back and started the Big Ten season, had a couple of really good games, started getting more playing time. And
one led to the other.
You know what? Stick it out here, and I'm glad I did. We ended up having a lot of success, won a lot of games, graduated. And
What was the turning point? Because you said you started out, you wasn't getting much playing time. So was it something you did, or was it like just luck, or you just got more into?
When I came in, our class was the original Fab Five. I came in with 4 other guys that were All-American basketball players. So we would compete with some of the older guys. And I don't know, it was just like, I don't know if some of the local guys were getting more looks than me at first.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I was Mr. Basketball in the state of Massachusetts as a senior. We had Mr. Basketball in the state of Florida. We had Mr. Basketball in the state of Michigan.
Okay.
We had another guy that was Mr. Basketball. So it was just like, but you know what? I'm like, you know what? I'm getting some minutes from somebody's playing time. So I'm gonna play hard enough and good enough that they're not gonna be able to keep me off the floor. So that's what happened.
And like you said, like the Fab Five. So basically, what I remember you telling me, what Glenn Rice's freshman year was your senior year?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So and like his experience with players like that, did you at that moment think, okay, this dude's about to be an NBA player, or was it just like, okay, he's just one of those freshmen who just came in? Like, how was your experience with him? I would say like that.
Glenn was obviously really good in high school,
right?
But when he came in as a freshman, you could tell he was special. He could shoot the ball. He had that little toughness about him.
Okay.
But again, they came in with Glenn, Lloyd Vaught, Mark Hughes. And those guys all played in the league,
right?
Also, so when we played my senior year, I think we had 7 or 8 NBA players on that team.
That's crazy, especially in those days.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy.
We were good.
Okay, and obviously, like, so the next step in your career was obviously going or trying to figure out after you won 2 Big Tens. 2 Big Ten championships. That was your junior and senior year, like you said. So obviously, you got a lot of exposure out of that. But like, if you look at it going to the next step, obviously, so you got drafted by the Knicks in '86. How was that transition for you from college, from being at a team like that, obviously, to being then in the league with a bunch of, in summer league or whatever it is, with a bunch of other players that are in that level of play? How would you say that was a difference for you, or did you?
It was a transition, in the sense that you get drafted,
right?
You go to camp, nothing's guaranteed. Just like anything else, you got to try out. You got to make a team. I got drafted as a power forward. The guy that got drafted in the same position was Kenny Skywalker. He got drafted number 5, so that was one
lottery pick. Okay,
yeah, lottery pick. So he was going. He had 1 spot. That was his. So it was just 3 other guys that were battling for 2 more spots.
Right.
And there was 2 guys that were already on the team. I was trying to get one of those guys' spots. One of the guys was injured, and they weren't sure whether he was coming back or not.
Okay.
They said, well, if you want to play, back then it was called the CBA. It's like equivalent to the G League now.
Right.
They said, we like to keep you because we know we're going to need you. We can pay you. You'll stay with the G League. We'll bring you up as soon as one of these guys. But it didn't pay what it pays now, of course. And then there was some opportunity from some European scouts. They were like, yeah, we'd love to have you over in Europe. Come over. And I was just like, we can pay you as much or more than the NBA. I was like, wait a minute.
How does that work?
You'll play half the games.
Right.
Okay. And then, one of the teams is a team over in France. I said, yeah, well, maybe I'll think about it. And then one of the agents that worked with American basketball players said, yeah, we're going to take 10 guys over. We're going to play games. We're going to play in the city, one of the cities that's interested in you. Why don't you come? We pay for everything. I just say, let me give it a shot,
All right.
Came over, we played at that team gym in France, and I said, it wasn't what I thought. So we played in Germany, we played game in Brussels, we played a tournament in Knokke, which was really nice. I said, that's just pretty nice, and we played another team, I think we went to Spain. We played 10 games total throughout Europe. And there were teams that said, hey, we want you to play for us, we'll sign a contract, and the team in Ghent, was a team in Ghent back then that says, yeah, we'd love to have you. I said, well, let me think of it. I mean, I could get used to living here. It's a few things that are beneficial to American play, like, McDonald's.
Right. Simple things.
They had
because we're talking also about that time.
The 80s, right? It's the 80s.
They had a cinema that was in English. They had, a couple TV channels. They had a USA Today. So and people spoke English. I mean, people would like you to have a conversation.
Right.
It's really funny when you think about it because we don't dub the movies; it's just subtitles and stuff. This is small things, but I understand. Like coming from America, everybody speaking Spanish or German, and
and there was people would talk to you in English. You could have a conversation. The city was great. The fans were great. And I say, okay, I'm going to sign with this team for 1 year, and then we'll see what happens. I'll go back and try the NBA again. And 1 year, it turned into 14 years.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's how it went, man. It was great, though. Great experience.
Yeah, I can imagine if you're here for 14 years.
Yeah,
like,
it was awesome.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes.
And so we just talked about the transition from college to NBA, but the transition from NBA to this, was that a bigger transition for you than from college to the league? Or obviously besides the fact of it's a whole different country and a whole different language and all that kind of stuff?
In terms of the style of play, the way I played a real physical game. Right. I was a banger, bruiser, and European basketball let you play. You banged and you could be physical. And my game fit the European game better than it did the NBA games.
Yeah?
Yeah, I had
because even at those times, NBA was also more physical, right?
Yeah, it was like I'll give you an example. If you look at now they have flagrant one foul. Right. Back then it was just part of it was called a hard foul. you went to the basket, you got hit. It was just a hard foul. But if you look at the last the Olympics, right, where USA won, Steph Curry got hot, and yada yada yada. But if you look at the physicality of how the inside players, they just let you, like, Embiid just got beat up. I mean, they just play a much more physical style of basketball. And if you can handle it, then you have success. If you don't, then it kind of weeds itself out, and you get exposed. So
right, I was about to say, it's easier to get exposed over here than it's actually that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah.
And besides that, like, what were the biggest, because obviously that went well for you, but what were the biggest struggles then for you if you would think about it?
You get used to like the goaltending calls, like the goaltender.
Yes.
The ball's on the rim, you can take it off. Like they had this. Like back then, we called it a travel. Now they have the Euro step.
Right.
It's legal now.
Right.
But in the States, it wasn't legal years ago. That was a travel, but now it's not. So there were things like that.
Yes, I
3 seconds, they played with a little bit of a wider lane, like they call it a
that was a bucket, remember?
Trapezoid lane and things like that. So it was little subtleties like that. But the goaltending was like, I'd go for a layup, it'd be on the rim, and somebody would just knock it off.
Volleyball. Yeah, yes.
Like, how's that now? So then you just got to start dunking it. You know what I mean? Getting into somebody so you make sure they can't take it off the rim. But just small things like that.
Feels like a whole different sport almost, right?
Yeah, it took some getting used to, but once you get used to it, you use it to your advantage. I start taking people's shots off.
Because I can imagine it forces you to change your game, because also, like you said, like you're a banger, but then you have that aspect also, like, I gotta make sure I have to dunk it now to make the point.
And a lot of times, like when there was a dead ball, the official didn't have to touch it. You just run and take it out of somebody's hands.
That's crazy.
Throw the ball in, like, it took a little bit of getting used to. But once you get used to it, you can use it in your favor.
That's the thing. That's a lot of things that we don't think about in this generation. Obviously, I've played for so long in Belgium as well, but those are the little things that, you don't think about. But that's really nice. It's nice to see those type of things. And out of all the years that you would say here in Belgium, what was like one of your, or I would say rather teams, what was one of your favorite teams to play for? Obviously, you had a couple of them, but.
Ghent. The old Ghent, when I played them, it was called the Sport Hall Bohorian. It was a small gym that was great to play in. Fans were great. But when you look at in terms of like career and most success was probably with Charleroi.
Okay.
Played 3 years there. We were good. Went to the finals twice. Played in the European Cup. So you get to travel to different countries and see other cultures.
How was that, traveling Europe?
It was nice. I mean, you could play in Portugal, Spain, you could go to Italy, Turkey, Greece.
What are some of your, like, a favorite place outside of Belgium in Europe that you really liked?
Barcelona was nice.
Barcelona. A lot of people said that up to this
Barcelona is nice.
Barcelona
is nice.
Greece was nice. There were a couple of places in Turkey we went to back then were nice. The weather was nice. You go, you play in the game, you can fly back for a couple of days, so you got time to like sit on the market and visit different experience different cultures and stuff like that. No, it was people always say, well, how was the money over there? Did you make as much as that you would make in the NBA? It was more about the experience.
Right.
Yeah.
The money was good, don't get me wrong, but it was more about the experience. And being able to see other cultures and other people. And
it is.
Nice.
Foods.
I think that's what a lot of Americans miss, though, because I remember going to college too. Like a lot of Americans were just like, Europe is like a whole different animal or something like that. And once, like, I have a couple of players now that I know that I played with that play in college. I mean, that play over here now, and they're just like, they want to stay here, if that makes sense. So it's crazy to see that you've had these experiences too, but back in the 80s already, when actually it was still a lot different than what Europe is right now.
Yeah, I think now it's probably more conducive or helpful to, it's more, I would say more globalized, like with the social media, with the options with TV, with the options of, like back then, like in order to watch a movie, I would go to, like I was telling you, the videotape. Get 4 or 5 DVDs. Or you would play a movie in the cassette, then you would take the 3 back and you get 3 more. And the only access we had to news, I would drive down to the local the newsstand and get the USA Today. Now you have, if you wanted to talk to someone, it wasn't called back then. It wasn't, you didn't have FaceTime. Skype.
Right. Skype, wow. Yeah.
We had that, it was 2 or 3 English TV channels. And
yes.
now you have access to whatever you want because of social media or internet. So
it can be everywhere.
It made it easier for us, but it was definitely different back then, I think.
That's why I find it interesting, like the small details, and also like because you're also a black man, right? Mm-hmm. So, and it's like the 80s. Nothing wrong, but it's still like
it's a different Belgium than it is now.
It's a different Belgium than right now. It's still open, but still different, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've come back to visit, Dee and my grandson a few times in the last 4 or 5 years, and it was different. I felt like I got treated different because I was American.
Yeah.
And I was a basketball player, so it may be the same now, like black people from out of the country, but if you play a soccer, you get maybe treated different than somebody who's here trying to make it a different way. But, I think from my perspective and what I've seen is like, I think people of color are more integrated into society now than they were back then. Like I was mentioning it to Dee, I was like, wow. You have some colored people working jobs doing this or out and about.
Yeah.
More so than it was back then. So I think it's evolved, and I think that's something positive.
Yeah, it's very positive. That's nice.
That's good to see.
Of course.
Like you said, like the difference in our generation, for example, with your generation, is like our generation, usually our parents were probably the first generation to come here, while we're the ones that are already been working here for a while and we've been doing a lot of different things, went to school over here, integrated more. We just look different, but basically this is our country, if that makes sense. So that's crazy to see, like it's such a big difference. And if you think about it, in 20, 30 years maybe, which is not that long. If you think about
to be honest, it's like at the last point about this, but it's like the soccer players, the basketball players who helped integrate, because 100%. Now they watch you, they cheer you on, they know a familiar face, and it does a little, but it does a lot on the other side also.
Yeah, I think too, like the one thing from my experience of all the years being in, playing or as a coach, the one thing that brings people together is sports.
100%.
That's the one thing more so than anything else will bring people from different backgrounds, ethnicities. That sports brings people together.
Yep, 100%.
Universal language.
100%. So that was, that's a nice sum up of the career in Belgium. Obviously that was in 2000 was the last time you played over there. After that, you made the move back to the States and ended up choosing the coaching role, basically. That's usually the route that a lot of players take, but for you specifically, how did that go for you? What made you so attracted to the coaching perspective of keeping that going?
I retired in 2000, and I thought, and that's what a lot of people athletes have a hard time accepting or recognizing. Like if you're a professional athlete, I was fortunate and blessed to play 14 years, but the average career doesn't last 14 years. You're probably 4 or 5 years, and you probably started at a younger age. So you're in your 20s, and then now you got to move or transition to the next chapter in life, which is not easy, and it's hard. So I made the transition at 35 years old. I'm thinking, and I was telling D, I was like, man, when that happened, like I was 35 years old. The only thing I'd ever played was basketball. I hadn't done anything else in life. So, but I had gone to school. I had graduated. I got my degree from Michigan, so I was able to go back and reach out to different people from Michigan and ask, hey, listen, I'm back. My goal is to be a coach. What are your thoughts? Can you help me get in contact with people? I started at Michigan. They were like, well, we've got our staff full, but we're willing to work with you and reach out to see if there's anybody else looking for a coach.
Nice.
So, I had options. I had people that were alumni that offered me working at Tiger Stadium. I had another job where they wanted me to help out and manage one of the sports bars.
Nice.
And there was a couple other things. But I wanted to stay involved with basketball. So I had my strength and conditioning coach that I had at Michigan. Now the athletic director at a school, Division II school in Michigan called Saginaw Valley State.
That's where Draymond Green is from.
Oh, okay.
So they were like, you want to get into coaching? Yeah. So I went up and interviewed, sat down, I had my resume, and they said, yeah, we'd like to have you on staff. We'll also get you a job working in the school district so that you'll be able to get more integrated and
of course
work with students. So I was working with high school kids and then coaching after work.
Nice.
And I did that. But my goal was I got to get back to Michigan. I want to coach one of the bigger schools.
Right.
So I kept going, and I did a couple interviews at Eastern Michigan.
Right.
And I was on there for a little bit, but I was on as the director of basketball operations, which is not fully involved with basketball. So I went back to Saginaw Valley State, figured I'd be more around. I'd be more useful working with players than I would be, working with administrative stuff.
Yeah,
I wanted to be at practice. I wanted to travel. I wanted to do different things. I did that for 2 years, and I said, you know what, I'm going to give it one more year and see what happens. But at the same time, I was working with students at high school. And then one day I was on vacation down in Florida. I said, those winters in Michigan are just
That's mean.
brutal. And I just went over to this high school. I said, hey, I'm looking to maybe to move from Michigan to Florida. I'm in education. Do you guys have anything available? And I was able to meet with one of the administrators there, and he and I talked for 3 hours. He's like, oh, we got to have you here. We'd love to have you. So
nice.
I went back to Michigan. I gave my notice. I moved to Florida. I became started as a substitute teacher and then working, coaching basketball, and then ended up getting a full-time job as a teacher the next year, and here I am. 23 years later, I've coached. I do Nike basketball camps. I do a few other things,
It's also nice that you are also in teaching, and that you had that side of the teaching part with the side of the coaching part, because I think it goes a little bit hand in hand.
100%. I think the fact that I have the coaching experience allows me or enables me to be a better teacher.
Yes.
Because you can relate to young people a lot better than someone who's just there trying to teach math or trying to teach science. If you're teaching these kids life skills, responsibility, accountability, things that you don't learn in books.
No.
For example, just how to be a better person. Because I've seen it over the years, it's far more difficult now to reach young people than it was, let's say 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Why?
Why? Because kids now, everybody does what? They pick up their phone.
Oh, yeah.
They're involved in social media. Everybody has a Instagram page or
TikTok, or whatever it is, all these type of things.
It's gotten to the point where some places want to ban phones in school.
I understand.
It's like, no, once you're at school, put the phone away.
Yes.
If you take a kid's phone,
they don't know what to do anymore.
No, and everybody's social media, in my opinion, it is what it is. It's what you make of it, but it can be a bad influence on a lot of young people. Because at that age, in high school age, when I say high school, they're from 14 to 19 years old. That's the most or more influential part of your life.
Yes.
So everything you're getting is out of that.
Yes.
100%.
And we all know that what you get out of social media off your cell phone is not always good. I mean,
No.
it can be used for good stuff, but a lot of times the stuff they're getting off there is not really good. So you got to compete with that. I mean, when I was growing up, I said I told them we didn't have cell phones.
No.
We would go play basketball, or we would do something different, or we would, And I think it started with kids became consumed with the video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's kind of where they started playing.
Yeah.
And I had like a little Atari, which it got boring after about an hour.
Yeah.
Enough of this. You know what I mean? Or you could read a book, or you could go out and play basketball. You did something else to spend your time.
Yes.
But you have and even today you have like young people they'll game like all hours of the night. You know?
Yeah. Been there.
There's a lot more distractions now than it was back in the day too.
Exactly.
Where you can just be anti-social, if that makes sense. While I understand they think they're being social with playing with their friends online and blah 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 blah. But like you said,
But what are you learning?
Nothing.
I can't imagine, like, right now, I wouldn't be good at school because I have, like, more distractions than
100%.
I had back then. It's more accessible also.
Right,
and also,
100%.
like, I think maybe at that time, like, you go, it's sunny outside, you pick the basketball up, you work a little bit on your game by playing the game, even if you don't go outside to play. And now, it's easier to stay inside and...
Don't mimic it on 2K.
True that. No. Okay.
No, but that's nice to hear. But besides that, like, I'm going to ask you one more last question. Like, what did you enjoy most out of it? Out of, like, if you take a look back out of the whole career, like from being in Boston all the way up to being in Belgium, up to being a teacher, like, what sticks out most for you? I know it's a lot of different trajectories, but what sticks out most for you that you enjoy the most out of all of it, or that you took away the most out of it?
I think like the whole picture, like my journey.
Right.
It's been special. I mean, I always tell kids I've been blessed. I grew up little Butch Wade, in the projects in Boston and in the city. I've had opportunities that were provided to me that like the average young person doesn't have. And basketball has allowed me to have most of those opportunities. But you're going to get presented in life with opportunities. At the same time, you got to take advantage of those opportunities. Like, for example, basketball allowed me to build relationships with people all over the world. Yep. That's one thing. Basketball allowed me to get a free education. Yes. That's the second thing.
Yes.
Basketball allowed me to make money doing something I love until I was 35 years old.
That's a blessing. That's a truly blessing.
And because I got my degree through basketball, I was able to lean on people and get a job, start the next career. So one thing is connected to the next, to the next, to the next. And if you're a young person, it could be the same with any other sport. It could be football, it could be soccer, it could be volleyball, it could be track, it could be whatever. When you have those opportunities, you got to take advantage of them. A lot of times people let the opportunities take advantage of them, and not them taking advantage of the opportunity. Like, for example, you go to college, and you don't graduate.
Yes.
You go to college, at your exposure, you have tons of relationships that are there, but you don't take advantage of those relationships. There's so many things that you develop. You create your own story.
Yeah, because that's one point I also want to mention, like, because you said you finished your career in Belgium and you got back in contact with the people from where you went to in college, and through opportunity and connections that you made, you got the opportunity to work. So that means also that you left a good impression behind. You made some good connection with people. And that's something I also had to learn the hard way by getting older. But it's very important to keep the good impression with people, right?
Yeah. No, we say that when you go through your journey, you don't burn bridges.
Yes.
And I know a lot of athletes, and I don't make excuses for athletes, but sometimes a lot of athletes are pampered.
Oh, yeah.
They're spoiled. They think the world owes them something.
Yes.
And because of that, and I've played with guys, they develop these not so nice attitudes.
Yes.
You can't be like that to people. Be a good person first.
Yeah.
And then a basketball player, because here's the deal. You're going to be a person a lot longer you're going to be a basketball player.
100%.
And when you create yourself or make yourself into an awful person, a lot of people don't want to deal with you later.
Yeah, that's the quote I heard, like the same people you meet on your way up or the same people you meet on your way down.
And I know from my experience, like I can pick up the phone and call a lot of people that I've developed relationships with, and they'll say, "Oh, it's Butch calling. Answer the phone."
Right.
Or there are people who go, "Oh, it's that." No, I'm not.
Yes.
They don't answer the phone.
Put it back.
No. That's true. And that's nice to hear. And that's a testament of your character that you had the possibility to go back. Because that's what I wanted to ask also. Like, was it always your plan to go back to the States? Like, oh, I'm done with Belgium. Like,
I was going to stay. I tried to stay out, like I say, for 14 years. But I tried some different business ventures, and I just thought, like, maybe I'll have more success.
No, I understand.
Back in the States,
because Belgium also culturally wise is a whole lot different than the States, right?
I think language barrier as well.
That's part of it. It was. I enjoyed it for 14. I first came. I was coming for 1 year.
Yeah.
And it was 2 years, and then 3 years, and before you know, it was 14 years.
It was quick.
But the thing that I'll also share is, like, I love what I do. I love working with young people, but there's a sense of, like, when I grew up in Boston, like at the Boys and Girls Club at the YMCA, and playing basketball in high school, like all the people that poured into me to get me to where I'm at. Now it's my turn to pour back into other people. If you're someone who benefits from all that and doesn't want to give back, that's just not. You have a lot of athletes that it's me. I'm going to get as much as I can, and don't believe in giving back. And I think that's wrong.
Also, I wanted to say, because you got a lot of opportunities, but you worked for your opportunities, right? You earned them, right? And hearing that you talk with your parents and your father wanted you to go a little bit further away to experience, to see the world. I think that's also nice to have that, because I don't know if other persons in your family were also at that level of sport, because I imagine if my parents never did sports, so maybe they don't know to tell me go further away from home, go experience something else. There's a little detail, but I think also it's key, right?
Yeah. No, my dad played a little bit of basketball at a small school in Texas, so he had some background and knowledge of advice and stuff to share with me.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. It's nice to hear. Can we get like a little advice because you're coaching young kids? Can we get like a little advice for the young kids who are trying to make it? What is something that's very important? I heard you talking about being a good person, right? But is there something else like that you can give?
I had one coach that I worked with that would always tell the kids it's the same thing, not only in athletics, or it's the same thing at your job, it's the same thing in life. You got to put the work in. You got to put the work in. You can't, whether it's in basketball, like if you're trying to get to the next level, whether it's in your career, you're trying to get to the next level, or even just being a better person. The one quote he would always say is that you can't cheat the game. You got to put the work in. You cannot cheat the game. They won't let you. You can for a minute, but at some point, it'll catch up to you. You cannot cheat the game.
Sounds cheesy, but it's real cheese, though. Yeah, that's true.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. You cannot cheat the game. It will catch you eventually.
Yeah, that's true.
No. Thank you very much.
No,
thank you for
sharing, man. I appreciate you guys, man. It's been real fun.
It's nice to hear your story. I hope the people in Belgium obviously going to appreciate it as well. I think they will. We haven't seen a lot of old basketball players from Belgium, I would say, from that generation that we've seen on camera. So we really appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming out. Appreciating the great words. And with that one, we're going to say thank you, guys. We're going to hear you guys soon. And on that one,
Couch Mob.